Starting a coaching business is way simpler than you think. Most people just overcomplicate it because they think they need a perfect website, tens of thousands of followers, years of experience, or some fancy certification. But all of that is just BS that makes people procrastinate from actually starting a real business. I have helped over 50 professionals build 6 or 7-figure coaching businesses. And I can tell you right now that over 95% of what you think you need is just noise. There are only 3 things you need to start a profitable coaching business. And if you focus on just these 3 things, ignore everything else, you can have 10K months within 90 days. I've seen this happen over and over. So in this video, I'm going to break down the only 3 things you need to start a profitable coaching business and exactly how to implement each one so that you can land high ticket clients faster than you could have even thought was possible. Right positioning with the right marketing strategy. If you're looking to build a coaching business, there's no better platform than LinkedIn, and I've talked about that in different videos, so I won't dive into why LinkedIn in this video. But if you've already sold on LinkedIn and you think that by posting on LinkedIn daily and even going viral daily, that's going to be enough for you to build a business, then I have something for you and that's going to shock you. I have worked with multiple people that have hundreds of thousands of followers that get hundreds of likes in their posts on a daily basis and have struggled time and time again to get clients. And the main reason that I want to share this is because just because you're creating content that goes viral doesn't mean that that content is resonating with your ICP or your ideal avatar or your ideal customer, and that it's building the trust that's required for them to spend a lot of money with you, which is a high ticket offer. And so just because you're going viral and you're creating content that goes viral, like a billboard post or a really motivational quote, yes, that will get you a lot of likes and views, but it doesn't mean that it sells. So it's all about the positioning. Because on the other hand, I have worked with clients that have less than 10,000 followers on LinkedIn that are creating content that gets less than 20, 30 likes per post, but are generating multiple 6-figure businesses. They're generating $20,000, $30,000 a month from that alone. It's really important that if you're building a coaching business, that your content is strategically built, not for likes and engagement, but it's strategically built to attract and build a trust with your ideal clients. And I'm gonna dive into a personal story. About 3 years ago, I had a ghostwriter. I was measuring his success by the amount of likes and number of followers that I was getting. And so he started testing out this type of content that we called victim mentality. Victim mentality is like putting the blame on the big corporations, putting the blame on somebody else, right? So you have this victim mentality. Those posts started to go viral for me. And it felt like a drug for me and my ghostwriter because we started seeing like, oh my God, we're winning the LinkedIn game. We started gaining more followers, more likes, more comments. At the same time, I started seeing that my business started to decrease in sales and our refund rate started going up. Right? And I was getting super upset at my client success team. I was getting upset that they were not doing as good of a job, that we weren't retaining the clients, that why are people asking for their money back at a much, much higher rate? And what we didn't realize is that it was due to our victim mentality content that we were driving a lot of leads that had a victim mentality. And so when things didn't go as they expected inside of the program, they started blaming us as being the problem because that's what they're used to doing. That's why they were resonating with the content. And that was a really big lesson to me because we lost money for like 2-3 consecutive months because we have this big team and we were getting people getting refunds. And what that led to was understanding that yes, our LinkedIn profile never got more views, never got more likes, never had more followers, but that quantity wasn't the quality of leads that we were looking for to grow our business. And I say that to you because whenever you're on LinkedIn and you want to create content and you're trying to grow, it's important for you to understand what is the goal of the content. Is it to go viral or is it to ultimately help you get leads? Now, there is a good mix about it. And inside of our LinkedIn Coaches Accelerator, we teach you how to go viral. Yes, we want you to go viral and create some top of funnel awareness. But if you don't have good middle of the funnel or educational content in the middle, that's showing them that you have a growth mindset, that you are a thought leader, that you know what you're talking about, then you're not going to be able to convert them into sales calls or master classes or ultimately into high ticket clients, which is the goal. Which goes back to this step is if you're looking to build a coaching business and you want to transition to it, is having a very clear idea of who you're selling and what you're selling, which is your offer and your niche. The first things we do inside of the LinkedIn Coaches Accelerator. The second thing is making sure that we're teaching you how to create content that is speaking directly to your ICP, ideal customer profile, or your avatar so that you're building the trust that's required for someone to want to invest thousands of dollars in your high ticket program. The second thing you need is that you need a lead generation strategy. If you don't have a predictable way to generate leads, then you don't have a predictable way to predict your income, and that's what you want to avoid, because that's the easiest way that businesses that are starting out go bankrupt or give up and go back to corporate or never leave their corporate job, is because they're not able to build a little bit of predictability, right? Because then we continue to assume that corporate becomes more predictable than our business. And step two, it's about converting that attention into sales calls, right? And that's where lead generation starts. And to me, if you're utilizing LinkedIn for this, there's 3 forms of leads that you want to get. And what we found is that on average, it takes about 40 leads to get 1 client. Now, if you have a lot of social proof, like you've worked at the Googles and you were a director or vice president at Google, you're going to need less leads because you have so much social proof than if somebody was working for a company that no one knows and it doesn't have the same level of experience. If you're starting out, you're going to need around 40 to 60 leads to get 1 client. So if we think about that, we have to now think about how we're going to get those 40 to 60 leads. So there's 3 different ways to generate leads on LinkedIn, and I'll talk about it from hottest to coldest. So the hottest ones are inbound leads. They're the best. They're the most likely to close. Inbound leads is somebody that is directly messaging you, inquiring about the services that either you mention on a post or are in your LinkedIn profile. Inbound leads, number 1, best likely to close. Number 2 is warm leads. And warm leads is anybody that's liked, comment, or views your profile. These are individuals that know who you are, maybe have shown some buying signals, like started following you, commented on your post, liked your post, has viewed your profile, but hasn't made the first move. To me, that is the sweet spot. Those leads are the ideal way to build a multiple 6-figure and 7-figure coaching business, because those are the leads that most people ignore because they're waiting for the inbound and they already know who you are. So the reply rate on those are going to be massively higher than the cold outbound leads. Now, if you're just starting on your LinkedIn content journey and you don't have a lot of people liking, commenting, or viewing your profile, then you're going to have to rely on the third type of leads, which are cold outbound leads. Or this is individuals that are in your ICP or avatar, right? They meet the criteria of who you want to work with and help, but they still don't know you yet. So you search on the LinkedIn bar, you're searching for them and you're cold messaging them. Now, the reply on a cold message is much lower, anywhere between 1 to 5%, depending on your background and the script that you're using. But if you're just starting out, it's okay to start there, and slowly, as you're getting momentum with your content, you are then able to transition to more of the warm leads and more of the inbound leads. Now, if you think about that, right? If you don't have massive amount of proof, if your content is not resonating with your ICP, then you're going to rely more on cold outbound versus warm and inbound. But if you're doing a really good job with your content, is strategically built towards your ICP, it's educational, it's showing them that you know what you're talking about, then you're going to get tons of warm outbound and inbound leads, which you're going to be able to then build your business, right? Let's talk about how to build a $240,000 business using step 1 and step 2 numbers so far. So if we can assume that you need 40 leads to get 1 client and your program is $5,000, our goal is to get 40 leads a week, because that way we would get 1 client a week, and then 1 client a week is $20,000 a month. If we multiply it by 12 months, we have a $240,000 business, which is not too shabby at all. So the question is, how do we get 40 leads? And that's where we want to go. Start with inbound, which would be very difficult for you to get 40 inbound leads a week unless you are a top 0.001% on LinkedIn. Then go to warm outbound, right? Anybody that likes, comments, and views your profile. And lastly, if you don't have enough warm outbound, then go to cold outbound. Now, mind you, little asterisk here. If you are not generating over half of those leads as warm or cold outbound, you might need closer to 60 to 70 leads to be able to get to that 1 client. It's still doable. It just means that you're spending a lot more time doing cold outbound in the DMs, which can be very boring and repetitive, but it ultimately works. The idea is that you want your business to become predictable. That if you get this many leads a week, it generates this many clients. If you get this many clients, it generates this much revenue. And now you can see how this business can scale up. In point number 3, I want to break you down this funnel and how do you get those 40 leads into clients, which is the third thing, which is all about sales and business growth. Now that you got into the habit of getting 40 leads per week. You can't just get leads and say, hey, pay me $5,000 and join my program. 40 out of those 40s will tell you no. So what we recommend is that you have some sort of a lead magnet to nurture those leads, to show them that you are the answer to the problem that they're facing. Our favorite and best converting one is a live masterclass, because live masterclass allows you to see them in person, see the tonality, get to see a little bit of a feel, and it mitigates the risk of somebody investing a lot of money with you because they feel like they get to know you better. So the way I want you to think about this is that you have 40 leads that you invite to your masterclass every single week. Out of those 40 leads, 20 will actually register. Out of those 20 that actually register, 10 will show up. 5 will schedule a sales call with you. Out of those 5 that schedule a sales call, 80% will show up and be qualified, which means that you're taking 4 calls at a closing rate of 25%, you get 1 client. And so those are really, really good benchmarks. Now, the amount of lead gen that will take for you to get 40 leads is probably about 20 hours a week, and that could easily be delegated to a VA when you get to that point, or if you have the extra money to do that. Now, whenever you're selling a high ticket offer, my suggestion is do not complicate the sales call, right? And the way I want you to approach it is be more of a doctor. So the main part of here is not being high pressure salesperson like a used car salesman from Matilda, right? We don't want that. What we want to do is actually be more of a doctor. We want to go in there to try to diagnose the issue that they're having, understand where they are today and where do they want to be tomorrow. If someone's here in a job they hate, feeling burned out and underpaid, and you're selling them to help them get a multiple 6-figure job, and you work with them until they get a job, that's the transformation that you're selling. Like, when you think about those 3 main things, you have a positioning and marketing strategy that generates attention. You have a lead generation system that gets you 40 leads a week, or multiply that if you want more than 1 client. And then you have a sales process that will allow you to then convert those leads into paying clients. Now, if you're wondering of why are we spending 80+% of our time on marketing and sales, it's because that is the first phase of building a coaching business. You need to have good systems and processes in marketing and sales. And when you think about client success, you just deliver that in a one-on-one VIP white glove service. Don't think about building courses or workbooks and stuff like that. Just use a lot of your time one-on-one to work directly with the clients, because that way when you are working with over 10 clients, you're going to see a lot of commonality, and that's going to be allow you to then know when to build out the course and build out the program. And so when you work with 10 people and have helped them make that big high ticket transformation, then it's your sign to think about like the business growth or the client success side of the business. And that's really all there is to it. Positioning and branding, lead generation, and sales and business growth. Not 50 things. Not a complicated 12-step process. Just 3 core pillars. But here's the thing. Knowing these 3 things and implementing these 3 things correctly are 2 different challenges. I've seen too many coaches try to figure all this out on their own. Spend months watching YouTube videos like this, then buying some random course, trying to piece together multiple systems from different gurus. Meanwhile, they're burning out trying to balance building their business and their corporate job, and getting frustrated because nothing seems to work, and starting to doubt on whether coaching is even possible for them. Look, you can absolutely try to implement these 3 pillars yourself. You can spend the next 6 to 12 months trying to figure out LinkedIn content strategy, trying to figure out your whole lead generation scripts and processes, and how to even convert them into paying sales clients. Or you can work with someone who's already figured all this out for you. That is why my business partners and I, Adam Broda and Reno Perry, created the LinkedIn Coaches Accelerator, a 12-week program where we take corporate professionals just like you and show them exactly how to implement these 3 core pillars correctly. We don't just teach theory, we implement them together, week by week, step by step, with live coaching and expert feedback, until you have a client generating machine that brings you high ticket sales consistently. In fact, I guarantee that you will land your first 3 high ticket clients in 12 weeks, or we work with you until you do. Because here's what I know, these 3 things work, but only if you implement them correctly and consistently. If you want to learn more how the LinkedIn Coaches Accelerator can help you master these 3 pillars and help you land your first 3 high-ticket clients in the next 90 days, then click the first link in the description now. Inside, you will see exactly how this system works and how easy it is to get started. Because a year from now, you'll either be thinking about starting your coaching business, or you'll be running a profitable 6-figure one that gives you the freedom and impact you've been dreaming of. The choice is yours, but you have to make it now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.